Hare Krishna. Madhurya Kadambini is a book written by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and the purpose of the book is to help those practicing Krishna consciousness in being able to further develop the practice of devotional service. Devotional service means engaging in all activities which give pleasure to Krishna or are favorable to Krishna. For example, when we are speaking about Krishna. When we are listening pastimes and activities related to Krishna. When we are praying exclusively to Krishna to help us with various challenges in our lives. However, performing devotional service is not so easy, and that is largely because our senses are so strong that they want to engage only in those activities which exclusively benefit ourselves. Krishna acknowledges this and says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Yatata he api kaunteya purushasya vipaschataham. O Arjun, the senses are so strong that they take away a person's ability to discriminate between what is right and what is wrong, what we should do, what we should not do. Indriyani pramatheni haranti prashabham manaha. That they also agitate the mind so much that one is constantly thinking about one's own benefit. Degree, we see that person engage in various behaviors which exhibit greed or anger, so that they're constantly accumulating resources which benefit themselves and their own family members. And so, having recognized how difficult it is to perform constant devotional service, we look to various resources and literature so that we can better understand the qualities and characteristics of devotional service so that we can become better at it. And so Madhurya Kadambini is a book that we can look to better understand the characteristics of devotional service. The title of the book literally translates to bank of clouds that shower nectar. Kadambini translates to bank of clouds, and Madhurya means nectar. And what is this nectar? This nectar is the guidance provided by the book to help us in being able to better perform bhakti. And in this way, we can access Krishna's help with respect to all of the aspects in our daily lives. So I was hoping that in this video, we can go through 5 key learnings from Madhurya Kadambini, and in this way take inspiration from the book to be able to improve ourselves in performing devotional service. The first key learning from Madhurya Kadambini is understanding of the various obstacles in performing devotional service in the first place. So the first one is called lay, or laziness or drowsiness. And what this essentially means is that performing bhakti is not a priority in our lives, that we keep it for the last moment. We perform the various activities that we need to throughout the day to satisfy our own senses, and then we keep Krishna last in our lives. The second one is called vikshepa. That means that while we are performing service such as chanting or listening, we are thinking about various other topics in our lives. What do I need to buy from the shopping center? Who I need to message? And in this way, we are not able to concentrate on devotional activities. The third one is called apratipati, and that means that even if you're not feeling lazy or we're not distracted with some other topics in our life, we are being disturbed by external circumstances, by someone else, or the environment is not favorable for us to perform bhakti. The fourth one is called kasaya, and that means that while we are engaging in devotional activities, we are finding faults in the devotional service being performed by other people around us, that this person is not saying the right thing, this person is making this error. And in this way, we are being distracted by what other people are doing as opposed to focusing on our own development. And the last one is called Rasa Swad. And what that means is that while we are performing bhakti, we are being constantly distracted by various other objects around us that can give us sense enjoyment. So for example, if we are chanting or if we are in class and suddenly a call comes from a friend who says, let's go out to a restaurant and let's have this item, then we will be distracted. We will leave that devotional activity and will partake in that material activity. And so that is the first key learning from Madhurya Kadambini. That is the various obstacles in performing devotional service itself. The second key learning from Madhurya Kadambini is the importance of faith, having faith in scriptures and associating with devotees to strengthen that faith. Faith is important in being successful in any activity. We see that Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says to Srila Sanatan Goswami, Shraddhavan Jan hai Bhakti Adhikari. One who has faith is definitely eligible to perform devotional service. Uttama Madhyam Kanashta Shraddha Anusari. And how strong that they are in their bhakti depends completely on how much faith they have. For instance, when it comes to the performing service of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we should have complete faith in the scriptures which say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, iti so dashaka nam kali kalmashanashanam, natah parataropaya sarva vedeshu drishyate. That all the Vedas say that chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is very important when it comes to protecting oneself from the inauspicious elements of Kali Yuga. What are the inauspicious elements of Kali Yuga? Prayana alpa ayusha sabhya mand kalau asmin yuge janaha mand sumand matayo mand bhagya upadrita. That in the short span of lives that we have, we are constantly lazy, misguided, and disturbed. And so, how does performing chanting or Krishna consciousness help us with mitigate these elements of inauspiciousness? That it gives us a purpose greater than ourselves. It gives us a purpose greater than our own material enjoyment. That when we take Krishna's shelter and associate with devotees, we develop the qualities such as compassion, understanding, and helping those around us who may be in need of our help. So, to become better in having faith in scriptures and developing this faith, association with devotees is very important. Taking shelter of a guru, taking instructions from a guru, taking initiation from a guru, and also associating with devotees. The example given here is that a piece of wood only catches fire when it comes in contact with another wood on fire. And similarly, our spiritual consciousness is only ignited when we come in contact with those people around us who are already self-realized. And so, Nectar of Instruction is a book which really helps us understand how we can better associate with devotees. And verse number 4 of Nectar of Instruction says, Dadati pratigranati guhyam akhyati prichyati bhungte bhojayate chaiva sadvidhi priti lakshanam. That the 6 symptoms of having loving relationships with devotees is Dadati pratigranati, that you give gifts and you accept gifts. Then guhyam akhyati prichyati, that you inquire about confidential topics and you also speak about confidential topics. And then bhungte bhojayate chaiva, that you have prasad at the devotee's house and you also offer prasad to other devotees by inviting them to your own home. And so constantly associating with devotees helps us develop faith in the scriptures and develop faith in chanting of Krishna's names. And developing faith in better performing devotional service will really help us in all aspects of our lives. And so that is the second key learning from Madhurya Kadambini, that Faith is fundamental in being a better devotee of Lord Shri Krishna. The third key learning from Madhurya Kadambini is to look out for characteristics with respect to performing unsteady devotional service. And in chronological order, the first aspect is called Utsamahi, that when a new devotee, the characteristics, the symptoms of a new devotee is that they have a lot of enthusiasm, and so when they start reading the scriptures, they will feel that now they know everything and they don't need to learn anything more. And that is called temporary curiosity. And so this is an aspect we should all be very careful about, because our scriptures are so vast that there is always something new to learn. And so we should all have permanent curiosity. Now, having curtailed temporary curiosity, the next obstacle that a devotee may come across is called ghanatarala, or irresolute endeavor. And so sometimes bhakti or devotional service is intensive, and sometimes it can slacken. And it can slacken because the devotee is actually not experiencing any enjoyment from the performance of bhakti. So now, having also understood that irresolute endeavor will not help us, the next obstacle a person may experience is called vyud vikalpa. And that is having doubts about this process, that will Krishna Consciousness really help me? Is there something else out there? Will associating with devotees really help me? And these doubts come up in a person's mind. And having curtailed this aspect as well, the next struggle that a devotee experiences is called Vishaya Sangara. Sangara means to fight, and Vishaya means the various objects of the senses. So, for example, one of the senses is the tongue, to eat. And an object of the senses would be some really nice dishes in a restaurant, and we constantly feeling like we want to go out and enjoy and satisfy this sense of eating nice foods. And so, constantly fighting the various elements of material enjoyment is the next obstacle that we experience. Having curtailed this to a little extent as well, the next obstacle that we face is called niyama akshama, and that is inability to uphold vows. For example, various vows that we have in ISKCON is to chant a prescribed number of rounds, that is 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But being unable to perform 16 rounds is called niyama akshama. And that is important, that we are able to stay true to our various promises so that we can continue developing in performance of devotional service. And the last one in unsteady devotional service is called taranga rangini. And that is that when one starts to perform bhakti, there can be certain benefits associated with it, such as they can receive praise from other devotees, or they can also receive money from other devotees if they're preaching. And so that tendency to enjoy these benefits is called taranga rangini, and one should be careful with respect to these 6 aspects. So Madhurya Kadambini helps us understand that these 6 characteristics can prevent us from being steady in performing devotional service. The third key learning from Madhurya Kadambini is taking a deeper dive into these 6 aspects and really understanding what causes us to not be able to be steady, and that is called Anarthas. So the definition of Anarthas, the types of Anarthas, and how to become free of Anarthas is the third key important learning from Madhurya Kadambini. So Madhurya Kadambini describes that earth means wealth, and the true wealth of a person is having a relationship with Krishna. And Anarth means those qualities which prevent us from having a relationship with Krishna. And so there are 4 types of Anarthas. The first one is called Dushkritutta, and that is the past sinful activities that we may have performed, the past material attachments that we may have performed, and impressions of those really prevent us from performing pure devotional service. The next one is called Shukratotha, and that is the pious activities that have been performed by us in order to enjoy various material enjoyments, and impressions of those may prevent us from really performing unmotivated devotional service unto Lord Shri Krishna. The third category is called Aparadhotta, and that is offenses we cause to devotees, offenses that we cause by not following the orders of our Guru. And while we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that also prevents us from becoming steady in devotional service. And the last one is called Bhakti Uttam, where we start focusing on bhakti for our own material gain, where we start becoming selfish, where we start promoting ourselves at the expense of other devotees. And so it is important to understand these categories of anarthas. And Madhurya Kadambini also helps us understand how to become free of anarthas. And that is by acknowledging the offenses that we may have made and apologizing for them. So the example is given that when a person develops fever, they may not be able to enjoy various aspects of their life. And so they have to recover from the symptoms of the fever to be able to start enjoying again. And so when we perform anarthas, when we perform offenses, our tendency to enjoy or relish devotional service will be mitigated. So in that case, when that happens, we just have to wait till the symptoms subside, apologize, acknowledge them, and then start again and free from offenses, free from anarthas, and then be able to improve in our devotional service. So that is the fourth key learning from Madhurya Kadambini. And the fifth learning from Madhurya Kadambini is symptoms of a person who's steady in devotional service. So now, having discussed the various obstacles and the symptoms of unsteadiness, then what does it look like for a devotee who's steady in performing devotional service? And this steadiness is at three different levels. And the first one is on a bodily platform, and that is called Kaiki Nishtha. And that is that a person uses their body in being steady in devotional service, so that they are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, they're worshipping Tulsi Devi, they're taking darshan of the deity. So they're using all of the senses in Krishna Consciousness in a very steady way. The second is on a speech platform, and that is called Vachiki Nishtha, that we are performing chanting of Krishna's names, we are offering various prayers, emulating those prayers set out in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the third one is called Manasi Nishtha, and that is being steady with respect to the mind, so constantly contemplating the various qualities, pastimes, and names of Krishna. So, in conclusion, Madhurya Kadambini really helps us develop a deeper understanding of the various qualities, characteristics, obstacles, and symptoms of devotional service. Understanding these qualities will allow us to perform our own self-assessment of where we are at in this journey. If we are unsteady, then what could be causing that? If we have caused offenses, then how could we recover from that? And if we have a desire to be steady, then what do the symptoms of steadiness looks like? So I hope that this video helps you in your own journey of devotional service and encourages you and motivates you to read this wonderful book. And I hope that this video has helped you in understanding the qualities of devotional service. Hare Krishna.